Okay, here we go. Masechet Demai, the beginning of a new Masechta. We're going to talk about what Demai is in general and general introduction to the Masechta, and then we'll move forward. As always, I want to dedicate this learning to memory of my father, Harav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. I see you saved at the end, but if you have comments or questions, feel free to contact me at rspolter@gmail.com. What is Demai that we actually have a whole Masechta that's Masechet Demai? So I actually, where I work at a place called Orot, Michlelet Orot Yisrael, and the librarian, his name is Michael Tzafati. He found this incredible presentation by two students named Surya Mizrahi, I think, and Rami Ezer, Morachi, I don't know. Okay, and I want to thank him for sharing this with me, because this is an incredible sort of introduction to what is Demai, based on what are Trumot and Maasrot. Once you see the presentation, you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so in order to understand Masechet Demai, we have to understand what are Trumot and Maasrot in the time Bizman Beit HaMikdash Haya Kayam. What were the Trumot and Maasrot? So you have a farmer. Now in this farmer, this Baal HaPeirot, okay, he has 100 bushels, 100 apples. Okay, so the Baal HaPeirot, the first thing he does is gives his Truma Gedolah. Gives Truma Gedolah to the Kohen. So he takes 1/50th, 40th, 50th, or 60th, but here our case, he gives his Truma Gedolah, his 2%, excuse me, to the Kohen. Great. Then he gives Ma'aser Rishon, 1/10, to the Levi. Here we go. So he takes off 10 apples, gives them to the Levi. So we have Truma Gedolah, and then we have Ma'aser Rishon. Then, next, the Levi gives what's called Trumat Ma'aser to the Kohen. Here we go. Okay, he takes Trumat Ma'aser. 1/10 of his Ma'aser is Truma that goes to the Kohen. Okay? Then, finally, in the first, second, fourth, and fifth years, he takes off Ma'aser Sheni and takes it to Yerushalayim. So he takes another 10th, I guess 10th of what's left, where are we? And goes to Yerushalayim, where he's going to enjoy his Ma'aser Sheni. He eats it there. Or he can be Mechalel the Ma'aser Sheni, he can transfer the value of the Ma'aser Sheni into Yerushalayim. Okay? On the third and the sixth year, he gives Ma'aser Ani, 1/10, he gives to the poor. This we've discussed in Masechet Peah, last Masechta. Okay, that's pretty much it. Okay, so where do we get to Demai? Let's go back originally, okay, to the first slide. Here we are. The Levi, okay, if you recall, the Levi gets his Ma'aser. Ma'aser is Chulin. It doesn't have Kedusha. Truma is Kodesh, has Kedusha. And if you eat Truma, there's a punishment of Mita B'dei Shemayim. Okay? Remember, the Levi has to give Truma Ma'aser to the Kohen. So, we'll go back. He gives Truma of his Ma'aser to the Kohen. So all of this has Kedusha. The problem is as follows. Let's go back. In order to see the problem, we're going to learn a Gemara. This is a Gemara in Sota, Daf Memche. Says the Gemara in Sota. We'll start from here, the Gzeira of Rabbi Yochanan. Okay? So Rabbi Yochanan said, Gazar ala Demai. Who is this? It's Yochanan Kohen Gadol. Yochanan Kohen Gadol made Gzeira on Demai. He decreed the fact that there is such a thing called Demai. Why? The Fisha Shalach B'chol Gvuli Yisrael. He basically sent his guys out to all of Eretz Yisrael. The people were being mafrish, they were designating, giving away Truma Gedolah. Umaaser Rishon, Umaaser Sheni, Miktsatan Maasrin. Umiktsatan Ein Maasrin. Some people would give it and some people wouldn't give it. Amar Lahem. Banai, Boi V'omer Lachem. I gotta tell you, Kishem Truma Gedolah Yeshban Avon Mita. Just like there's a punishment of Mita for Truma Gedolah. Kach Trumat Maaser v'tevel yesh b'hem avon mita. There's also in Trumat Maaser, there's Truma as we just saw. So there's a punishment of death in that as well. Okay. Hamad v'hitkim lehem. So he made the following decree. Halokeach perot me ayin hey me am haaretz. If you buy fruit from an am haaretz, i.e., someone who is not meticulous. Am haaretz is not somebody who's not religious. It's someone who's not meticulous about all these aspects, all these details. Then, mafrish me'en ma'aser rishon, he has to designate ma'aser rishon, u'ma'aser sheni. Ma'aser rishon, mafrish mimena trumat ma'aser v'notna lekohen. So the ma'aser rishon, he has to take off Trumat Maaser and give it to the Kohen. Because remember, that's Safek, that's Chayav Mita B'dei Shemayim. Umaaser Sheni Olev Ochlo B'Yushalayim. Maaser Sheni, you can take it in Yerushalayim. It doesn't have to give it to anybody else. Maaser Rishon Umaaser Ani Amotzi Mechavaro Alav Ra'aya. Remember, Rav Yochanan, Kohen Gadol, only made the Gzeirah on Demai Misafek. We don't know if the Am Ha'aretz, if I bought produce of an Am Ha'aretz, maybe he did take off Maaserot, maybe he didn't. Therefore, from Safek, if the Ani comes and says, or the lady comes and says, give me my Maaser, you say, prove to me that the Am Ha'aretz didn't give Maaser. Therefore, I don't have to give it to him. So the only real practical ramification of Demai, I bought my fruits I bought 100 bushels. I have to take off Trumot and Maaserot. If he says he took off Trumot, I can assume, let's go back. 1 second, let's go back. Okay. Here, I assume he gave to the Kohen. That he did. So I have to take off just Trumat Maaser. When I bought the 100 bushels from the Am Ha'aretz, I take one, I can't really do this, but I take off one and give it to the Kohen. I take off Maaser and take it to a Yerushalayim, and the rest I keep for myself. That's what Demai is. Demai is, so the Gemara says, there's a big argument, what does it mean, Demai? Some say it's Damai, what is this? Others say it's from a Greek word, I think. Yeah, the Kahati says that it's from a Greek word, okay, or some other kind of word that from Demai is. 1 second. Let me see if I can find the name of the word. Here we go, and he says in Yerushalmi, they say the word is from the word Dama, Domeh Tiken, Domeh Lo Tiken. Maybe yes, maybe no. He says there's also a Greek word of Damus, which means Hamonam. The Hamonam is like the Am Ha'aretz, Damus. So whatever it means, the word Demai refers to produce that is Safek Me'usar, Safek Eno Me'usar. But you don't treat it like a Safek, it has a din of Demai. And the most fascinating thing about this first Mishnah is that the Mishnah begins not by telling you what Demai is. You know what Demai is. You learn the Gemara in Sota. The first Mishnah, it deals with what is not Demai. We're going to see many Mishnayot deal with the kulot of Demai. What the rules do not apply to Demai that do apply to Tevel or Vadai, or Truma, Vadai, but certainly. Demai is something in the middle. So many of the Mishnayot in Masechet Demai deal with this specific issue. So actually, this Mishnah is quite complicated. It's quite interesting and complicated. So we're gonna put on the side. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's do this another way. We're gonna put on the side the English. Excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, because the words are. Here we are. That'll work. The words are a little bit tricky. Says the Mishnah, Hakalin shed b'demai. Okay, you assume you know what Demai is. So what are some rules, some leniencies with regarding Demai? By the way, this is a Sansino I found. I downloaded it from some website. I don't remember exactly the name of the website. Hashitim. So what are fruits that are not chayav in Demai? If I buy them, essentially what it means is if I buy them from an Am Ha'aretz, I don't have to take off Trumat Maaser or Maaser Sheni. Trumat Maaser give to the Kohen. Doesn't have Demai. So it's Hashitim, okay, wild figs, Harimin, jujube fruit, Uzradin, crab apples, Benot Shuach, Benot Shikma, Novlot Hatmara, Gufnin Nitzpa. Okay, that's its translation. Young sycamore figs, unripe dates, late grapes, and thorny capers. I.e., we don't know what any of these fruits are. It's not halacha l'maaseh. We don't keep demai anyway. But the point is, it's fascinating that the Mishnah begins by telling you all of these things are not required demai. Kanati explains that there's a machlok in the Yerushalmi what the reason is. Some say that it's not, that these are really insignificant fruits. Look at them, wild figs, jujube fruits, crab apples. Who eats crab apples? So they would save everything, but nobody really wanted them. And so if that was true, one opinion in the Yerushalmi is that the Am Ha'aretz didn't care enough not to give the Maaserot, because, who really needs it? They're such cheap fruit. Others say, in the Yerushalmi, the other opinion is that these fruit are so insignificant that they were hefker. And hefker is not chayiv in Trumot and Maaserot at all. Ubi Yehuda, and in Judea, ha'og ve'achometz sheb Yehuda ve'akuzbar. Okay? Also the sumac, Judean vinegar, and coriander. Kuzbar, coriander. Okay? Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Rabbi Yehuda says, Kol hashitin p'turin. Okay? All of the shitin, all are exempt from demai. All wild figs are exempt. Okay? Chutz mi rime shikmona. Except the jujube fruits of shikmona. Kol benot shikma p'turin. Chutz mina mustafot. All young sycamore figs are exempt, except that are mustafot. Except the ones they're so abundant on the tree that the mustafot, it's like the tree explodes. And then those are significant fruits. Nonetheless, so we see here just the specifics of the fruit. You can look them up if you want, what each one is. But more importantly, fascinatingly, like what I love about Mishnah, it's like in the beginning of Masechet Brachot. You start Masechet Brachot and it doesn't say anything about you have to say Shema. And now, when do you have to say Shema? Similarly here, Demai, the Chazal, if you're learning Mishnah, Chazal assumed you knew what Demai was. Hopefully you do now. And once you do, then what is required to have Demai? And I think that's going to be a theme. That the Gzeirah of Yochanan Kohen Gadol is B'tokef, it would apply in the times of Chazal, but they made a very strong effort to minimize it whenever possible. Have a great day. I'm sorry this went so long, and there's a lot to tell you about the introduction. As always, as I said in the introduction, if you have any comments or questions, artspolter@gmail.com.